Hey folks, Brian here. I wanted to take this time up front before the episode really gets going to mention that this episode was completed a long time before recent events and tragedies transpired. We here at The Feed feel this episode about the storied history of canned hams and their cultural legacy is still worthy of release, but I guess this is just a heads up if you're sensitive to reminders. Okay, that's it. On with the show.
Folks, I'm going to be honest with you. Canned hams have always creeped me out. There's just something about a whole slab of unrefrigerated ham floating in a cloudy liquid in a tin can with one of those pull-tab taps that's just never sat right with me. Same goes for Spam and deviled ham. Give me a can of sardines and I will go to town on them. Hand me a tinned pig and I will make sure your body is never found. Today on The Feed, I've decided to change that. We're exploring the world of canned hams to find out why some people find them so delicious that they've become indispensable in some regional and cultural cuisines. And maybe, just maybe, I can learn to love their taste too. The story of canned ham begins with the Great Depression. People needed cheap food, and at the same time, American meatpacking giant Hormel had a surplus of pork shoulder to unload. Today, we use pork shoulder in all kinds of recipes, but back then it just wasn't as popular. Thus, canned ham was born, and soon found a niche in 1930s households as a convenient source of protein that didn't take up valuable refrigerator space. But it still took up a sizable chunk of space in the cupboard. That's when J. Hormel, the son of Hormel's founder George, downsized the portion to smaller 12-ounce cans of what he called spiced ham, or, as it would become better known, Spam.
Okay, so right off the bat, I would like to apologize for the mere mention of Hormel. When we were prepping this episode, there was just no way to know that J. Hormel had canned his father George just before his death in 1946 to, quote, preserve his genius for future generations. I'm sorry if this stirs memories of George's can rupturing and releasing a toxic gas that caused a mass evacuation of Austin, Minnesota, home of Hormel's corporate headquarters, just 2 months ago. Government officials say there may never be a point where the citizens of Austin stop smelling like spoiled ham. Some are even suggesting it's altering their DNA, forever making them smell like the hammed corpse of a ham billionaire. To those who have been tainted by the canned corpse of George Hormel, we offer our sincerest apologies. Back to the show.
Spam was a hit, especially among American housewives. The reaction was more mixed among our boys fighting in World War II, though. Spam's long shelf life made it a wartime dietary staple for American soldiers, many of whom quickly grew to despise the revolutionary meat. But not everyone hated it. In fact, parts of the globe where U.S. soldiers were stationed still have a long, abiding love of Spam that has only grown and evolved ever since. Specifically, Hawaii.
Hi folks, Brian here again. As I'm sure you're aware, Hawaii floated away from its usual spot. It was last seen somewhere off the coast of Suriname shortly after squeezing through the Panama Canal. Researchers think it has something to do with the state's need to get up and stretch its legs a little after being in one spot for so long, while others contend that the state was just lonely all the way out there in the Pacific. Both valid theories. I know many of you had friends and family in Hawaii who haven't been seen or heard of in months. I apologize if the topic of Hawaii brings up bad feelings. There's just no way we could have known that a landmass was prone to wanderlust. I'm sorry. Anyway, back to the show.
Spam sushi, Spam fried rice, Spam and eggs for breakfast. Spam and Hawaii were a match made in heaven. The luncheon meat had found a whole new fan base among native Hawaiians and newly arriving Japanese immigrants whose designation as a security threat at the time meant they weren't allowed to obtain fishing licenses. As fish came off household menus, Spam swooped in to provide families with the affordable protein they needed.
I forgot that fish can talk now. Oh, God. Yeah, that's a big one. Honestly, it's kind of the least of our worries, but still, I think we can all agree that some of the things they say are unnervingly prescient. It wasn't the consensus among the fish at the time, but we still should have listened when that vocal minority was warning us about the wanderlust of Hawaii. We thought they were just crazy. We should have listened. This is the last apology. I'm sorry. Now we take you to the conclusion of the episode.
Canned hams are sacred to some, derided by others. Look no further than to me as evidence of the latter. But whether you or I like its taste doesn't mean that it hasn't been a saving grace for millions who would have otherwise starved. But only thinking of it as an affordable source of protein for the poor does a disservice to its following. Canned ham love transcends class. Spam in particular. There are Spam festivals all across the country that celebrate the beloved mysterious meat, and it's even started showing up on the menus of upscale New York restaurants run by Asians and Pacific Islanders for whom Spam has always been a normal part of life. There's a reason Spam has broken sales records every year for the past 7 years. Despite its vocal detractors, canned hams are a beloved dietary staple that will never go away.
I'm so sorry. I just got word that due to a processing failure at the Hormel factory, cans of Spam are exploding en masse across the country right now. Experts are saying the mess is going to take months, if not years, to clean from the various cracks and crevices in which it has embedded itself. They're saying that some of it may not be cleaned out before it spoils, which will most certainly lead to at least a few deaths. I just wanted to do an episode about canned ham. I'm so sorry.